Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
And Zach, this week, it's our 2021 Super License pre-season show. I know it gets confusing. Here's what we've got. We've got Shakedown, we've got Dare to Swear, and we've got Super License, kind of vanilla Super License. That's what this is.
Could it be cookie dough?
What about Classic?
Classic. Yes, like Coke Classic. This is
Yes.
Classic Super License. I like it.
Yes,
What are the other classics,
Classic
Rod?
Super License. The other classics?
Yeah.
Classical music. That's
Yep.
classic. Classical...
Classic races.
Classic. Sometimes if you're sick, you don't go to school. You say, I can't go to class, I'm sick. I'm classic.
You can see why you became a podcaster and genuine broadcaster with puns like that. I'm not just regular sick, I'm class sick.
All the professional podcasters wait until after they start recording to plug in their laptop to power and reliably informed. Anyway, so the whole point of this episode is to say that we are going to be introducing the season. We're kicking off proper. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in store. We're going to be talking about a little bit of news. We're going to run through all the drivers. We're going to remind you who they are if you've forgotten, or if you're new to Formula One. We're going to give you the background that you need. Going to cover all the insights from testing. Going to talk about our amazing, bold, outlandish predictions that are definitely going to come true. Another little surprise in store somewhere along the way. Maybe we get into that. Zach, I have a surprise for you. We're going to do a special thing today.
Okay.
We could either do it now, or we could tease it now and do it later. But last week, we talked about doing another season of Dare to Swear, and we jokingly said, hey, Rod, you should go and make a trailer. So I've only gone and done it. I've got a trailer. So you get to choose. Do you want it now? Should I hit you now? Or do you want to sizzle it now and do it later?
I think sizzle it now, so I can kind of get an image in my mind. I want to recover, so I can feel it twice almost, and
Cool.
then we can talk a little bit more about when we were going to record maybe season 3 of Drives of Jet
No
Sweat.
worries.
Sorry.
No
Okay,
worries.
great. Wow.
Exciting. So, what's news in the world of Formula One, Zach?
I don't know. How about Rod? One thing you've always complained about when I've been at Grand Prix with you, or when we've talked about them, you're like, you know what's really boring? Saturday, basically nothing happens.
I hate it.
I wish there was some proper racing on a Saturday, and the F1 world has listened. Rod, Ross Brawn, and the rest of the Formula One head honchos at Liberty Media have listened and said, you know what? We can have a race on Saturday. Let's have regular qualifying on Friday for lame sprint race. Well, not lame as in it will be bad, but not the real race. So let's have qualifying for a sprint race, which then decides the grid for Sunday, but also some points on Saturday. How's my explanation? Are you following me so far?
I think so. I know I know the basics of this story, but I am filling in the details as we go. So yeah, sprint races. After saying sprint races won't happen to determine the grid, they're now going to happen as a one-off, at least a one-off. Then there could be more, but we are going to get at least one at Silverstone. A sprint race. I mean, this is the thing that Sebastian Vettel called stupid, or I think maybe it was Lewis Hamilton said it was stupid, and Vettel said whoever came up with that idea doesn't know very much about racing. It was one of them, or it might be flipped around, but this is a contentious thing. In one way, I'm glad we're going to get it, because it means if it's truly fucking terrible, which I think it might be, we'll at least do it, and then we can sit back and look at it and go, holy moly, let's never do that again. Or it might be great.
Yeah, or it could just be really fun. I think we're seeing it, Silverstone, definitely, and I think that there are Portimao and another race, I think we're going to play with.
Are they
the
confirmed
format.
or possibilities?
I feel like they are possibilities. Silverstone 100% confirmed.
Right.
But if
Gotcha.
nothing explodes at Silverstone, I reckon they'll probably try it again. So how's this going to work? It's going to be, they're going to call them sprint qualifying. It's not a sprint race, Rod, although it is a sprint race format. It is going to be called sprint qualifying.
Ridiculous. Even the name annoys me.
SQ. Or squalifying?
Squalifying,
Maybe?
yeah, that's it. We're calling it squalifying.
Yep. And I think they're definitely going to give points. They haven't said how many. It could be like 3 for the winner, or it could be like 25 for the winner. It probably won't be 25. I don't know quite. My concerns are of the technical nature of Parc Fermé. Like, what happens if you have a big crash in the sprint quali? in qualifying, and then you're effed for the race the next day. Also, how much practice a team's going to get if they're busy thinking about like, oh shit, I've got to do this race, not just like regular qualifying. Like qualifying, at least if you're in the bottom half, it's like, all right, well, we might get through to Q2 maybe, but we just have to have the car okay and get out there. But if it's a race, like that's a completely different setup than a quali setup, which is just like as fast as you can go one lap. Whereas a race, even though it's a sprint race, slightly different setups again for the car. Maybe that will be better. I don't know. And I also don't know how hard people are going to attack it because they don't want to, again, F themselves up for Sunday. What do you think is going to happen?
At least one of the front runners will get knocked out, lose the sprint race and start from the back of the grid and be livid, and everyone's going to be livid, you know. And other than that, the result's going to be exactly the same as normal, and everyone's going to say, well, that achieved nothing. Yeah, I reckon that's my hot take.
Are you excited about it having a race, though? Like another race, second race? No. Okay. No. That was easy.
No. Because the thing is, if you're a hardcore fan, you can watch the race, you can watch qualifying, you can watch practice if you want. If you're not a hardcore fan, you know when to tune in, you know what you're going to get. You watch the race. That's the big show. Now, if you turn on, you know, if you're tuning in on Sunday, they're going to be like, well, you're 24 hours late for the sprint race, and you'll be like, what? What the heck? You've got to sit through, it'll be like probably, half an hour, I don't know. It'll be like a race you have to watch to set the order for the next race. It's like, just, can we stop overcomplicating everything?
I think I'm with you. I am interested to see these cars do a sprint race, but I'm not sure how I feel about it setting the grid for Sunday, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm interested in F1 sprint races. Like, we sometimes get this, right? You know, there'll be a big safety car or a red flag with like 15 laps to go. You're like, oh, now it's just like a race to the finish. Like, none of this, like, oh, tires will go, and oh, what about fuel and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, no, drive to the end. That's all you have to do. Those are always exhilarating. But yeah, I think it's going to really play with the grid. Maybe that's what they want. They want it all over the shop. Because you can imagine someone like, although maybe it does damage someone like George Russell, who's a very good qualifier, but his races are, whilst they're good, like the Williams is traditionally like let him down with like overall race pace on a Sunday. He's probably going to be in a worse position because he could pull out one or two pretty good laps in qualifying, but over a short, like over a sprint race, probably not do as well. So I think you're right. This probably won't change the grid very much. There'll be a couple of like crashes that will mean that some front runners start from the back, but that can happen in quali too. So yeah, maybe we'll just be in the same position. It's just we've given out some points and had a funny race on a Saturday.
I wonder how much of this is a way to try and generate a highlight reel for TV so that they can advertise, watch the race. You know what I mean? Like they take highlights from qualifying, someone wins, someone overtakes, someone crashes, and they're like, and for more of that, tune in tomorrow. And it's like it's like having a trailer for a movie. It's like it's pre-made. If you like this, come and see more tomorrow.
Yep. No, I think you're exactly. I think that's it. I think that this is built for the social media generation of sports watchers, where it's like, cool. Here's 2 minutes of racing at Silverstone from today. Oh my god! And you can go on TV and
oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right. So yeah. Sounds like what? So what's our read? What's communication official from Super License? It's going to fail, and it's a publicity stunt, and not actually improving Formula One.
I just think they're doing it for the wrong reasons. So I mean, if it does what they want, it's still not a win because you could have just done what you wanted, but done it for the right reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Anyway,
I don't think there was any other news. Was there? Nothing fit to print?
I mean, that was the big one that we wanted to cover, was that it's like gone from being a hypothetical thing that like, will they, won't they, maybe, to, no, they're going to do it. So, it's time to start thinking about whether we like that or not. So that when it arrives, we can obviously voice our opinion.
We can rip it to shreds.
Are we done with news?
Yeah.
What I thought we'd do next, just because there are some new drivers on the grid, there's probably going to be some people tuning in going, I've never seen this Formula One thing before, and my friend said that I should listen to this show to understand what's going on. Not too technical, very user-friendly. What I thought we'd do, for ourselves as much as anyone else, but just run through the grid, have a quick gander at all of the teams and the drivers within, and maybe recap the recap the basic bio, the elevator pitch for each of the drivers. And I pitched this to you before we started, Zach. Maybe we'll try like 2 truths and a lie, which is where you say 2 things that are true, 1 thing that's a lie about each of the drivers. So we're going to switch off teams. I don't know if you have a preference for going first or second, but we're going to start with Mercedes and work down the grid.
Okay, I feel like in true Super License tradition, you've introduced the format, and I think that it's only fair then that I fail at this format and by going first. So are we going to start? We've both got the same website up, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Are we starting from the top and working left to right, or do you want to start from the bottom and do it in reverse?
Oh, okay. We can still, we can work from the bottom. So we'll go, the order would be then Williams, Haas, Alpha, Romeo, and so on. Is that right?
And so on, and so forth.
Right. And so forth. And you would prefer to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Take it away, my
Nicholas
friend.
Latifi. Nicholas Latifi. Wow. On this webpage, does not have a driver number. Wow. What a great start. Nicholas Latifi. 2 truths and a lie. The first one is absolutely hates maple syrup. Definitely. Most forgotten driver on the grid. And his surname is actually Latifi, but Formula One misdid it 1 time, and he's just gone with it. He's just kept it. There's the 2 truths and a lie.
Pretty good. I don't think I need to necessarily guess which one was the lie. I think the idea is just to sort of get them out. But I like the idea that this guy would be Latifi if he had class sickness. He'd be Latifi if he had class sickness.
Yeah.
Classic? Yeah. If he was classic, he'd be late. Yeah. Anyway.
I like it. I like it.
Who is his partner at Williams? Can you kick us through the next driver?
George Greg Russell. So he's... look, everyone's just saying that George Russell is the best English driver except for Lewis Hamilton. And it's unconfirmed, right? But when he was at Mercedes, he did a really good job. So there we are. There's definitely something there that when he was at Mercedes, he did a really, really, really good job. Of course, yes, his nickname is Greg, for the famous Australian broadcast and host of Formula One broadcasts, which everybody around the world knows.
Yes.
And he's never driven a go-kart. It's just one of those weird things.
Wow. It's one of those things?
Yeah.
Just exactly. One of those things. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, mate. All right. I'll kick on and I'll do Haas. Their 2 drivers are Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Now I'm understanding why you didn't want to do this team. Okay. We'll start off with Mick Schumacher, obviously son of Michael Schumacher, the former great, the former GOAT, until his spot as the GOAT was usurped by another driver that we'll get to later. Driving for the Haas Formula One team, the American team, the All-American team. No question that they're American. But Mick Schumacher, he's the new hotshot on the grid, the new, very likable person. He's obviously had a great success in the young formulas. Very much the good guy in this team. And also, he owes me $50. Nikita Mazepin. What can be said about Nikita Mazepin that hasn't been said before? Nearly everything. Some success in the junior categories, largely there because his father's bankrolling the team, you could say. Or the Russian hope on the grid. And also allergic to licorice. Over to you, Zach.
And seemingly from this picture, hasn't given a race suit. Everybody else has one, but he doesn't. Just
Poor
the
boy.
top.
You wait till we get to some of these other drivers where there's just a floating head. Incredible stuff.
Should we move on to Alfa Romeo Racing? Antonio Giovinazzi, second most forgettable racer on the grid. Well loved by Alfa Romeo because he is Italian. And it's funny, for a sport that is so dominated by Italy and Italian racing heritage, and Ferrari obviously being Italian as well, doesn't seem to have a lot of Italians in the racing seats. So Antonio Giovinazzi is very well liked, I would say, because he's Italian and he's in Formula One, and that just sits right with the historical narrative of Formula One. It feels like. What can we say about? I mean, he has been in Formula One for it. You know what? It feels like not very long, but I think it's like 3 seasons.
Could be.
Which is quite a long time. Drives exclusively Alfa Romeos, but doesn't know how to fix them. Which is, of course. And they break down a lot, apparently. Kimi Räikkönen, Rod's favourite racer,
True.
definitely. And this is and actually, if we're going to do 2 truths and a lie about Rod, this is 1 truth, Rod's favourite racer. Number 2, this is Rod's favourite part of Kimi Raikkonen's career, what some mates may call the sunset, but his time at Alfa Romeo and Sauber has easily been Rod's favourite time for Kimi Raikkonen, because it gives you something to look out for in what is usually Mercedes dominant racing. You know, you can look further down the grid and be like, where is my old mate Kimi Raikkonen? There he is down there. Wrote a book of haikus, and he's known for his direct, if minimal, language, which suits the haiku situation. And once bought Rod and I drinks post-race.
That's a lie. It was pre-race.
And he had all of them. He said he was buying them for us, and then he drank them all.
He came back with 5 drinks, and he was like, "Where's your guys' drinks?" What a guy!
Pop to the
what
bar,
a guy, Kimi. I'll keep going. We're into Alpha Tauri, not Alpha Space Tauri. Alpha Tauri. It's all one word, but with a capital in the middle. They're 2 drivers, Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, known as the former Toro Rosso, former Red Bull driver, now Alpha Tauri driver, had some success, race winner. Obviously, a guy that people just, boy, they love to feel bad for him and just wish that he will do well. He's a real underdog favourite in that regard, and cuts his own hair. Yuki Tsunoda, the only Japanese driver on the grid, I want to say. I think that's right. A new guy on the grid in his rookie season, obviously replaces one of the unluckiest Russians that we've ever had in Formula One. And his favourite song is Islands in the Stream.
Outstanding. I can't believe, I don't know how you got all this insider knowledge on
I mean, this is why people tune into the
Tsunoda.
podcast.
Yuki's a great name. I love that. I'm just going to call him Yuki for the rest of the season, because I think that's fun. Like Kimi, I like a 2 syllable.
Kimi and Yuki, they're
name.
probably friends.
Lando, Yuki, Kimi. I like all of these. All of these make sense. Let's move on to wow, they're really far down the grid on the Formula One website. Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, the first of floating heads on this page.
First of many.
Driver number 55. We never did a show about drivers picking their numbers and like how they picked their numbers, because it's just, everybody likes double numbers, right? 44, 77, 33, 55, 99.
There's a lot
Everybody
of those.
just wants double numbers, which is lame. I think you and I have discussed which numbers we'd have, but go back and listen, find that episode in the archives. Carlos Sainz Jr. is the first thing I would say. His dad is a very famous World Rally. Is he a champion? I know he raced in the championship. He might have been a champion. Yeah, exactly. That's Carlos Sainz Sr.
I don't know for sure, but I said it so confidently that,
it feels right. I don't think anybody who listens to our show watches World Rally Championship. That's wrong. If you do,
we're in
good
so
on
much
you.
trouble. They just unsubscribed.
You want to know a truth about me? One of the first racing games I had on my computer was a demo of World Rally Championship. Famously hard to drive.
Nice.
Like if you're used to other driving games, you're like, just foot to the floor, go, go, go. Don't ever
not
break.
arcadey
That
at all.
game, nope, you cannot do that. Just spent the whole game just spinning out. Carlos Sainz, yes, his father is senior, but wasn't senior until Carlos Sainz Jr. came along and was born and said, you know what, Dad, changing your name, Carlos Sainz Senior, and I'll be Junior, which was nice and fair enough too. Ex-Red Bull driver and ex-Toro Rosso driver as well. Has really quite the mercenary. Rod Toro Rosso, well, he didn't ever race for Red Bull, did he? So Toro Rosso, Red Bull driver program, and then Renault, and then McLaren. And now Ferrari. The winding path of Carlos Sainz's career. And God, he absolutely loved living in England in his time at McLaren. Definitely. Charles Leclerc, Monegasque, which means from Monaco, as we've learnt, destined to race at Ferrari. The minute he put on a pair of sunglasses and gave and turned to the camera and his hair wisped around, Ferrari went, you there, you will be the future of Ferrari.
We see you.
And we also like the colours of your flag. They're very Ferrari. If you could actually just add a bit of a V to the Monte Carlo flag, then it would be very Marlborough on brand. That would be perfect.
What's coming next? You'd be like, that's the Monaco flag. They'll be like, don't think so.
Yeah, no, definitely not. What can we say about him? I mean, he does like a whinge, but we really like him on this show because he was the young upstart for a while. He used to drag the Sauber further up the grid, much like George Greg Russell does with the Williams. But then it was always going to go race at Ferrari. It was just a matter of time. He's come in, absolutely dominated everybody else at Ferrari, but now he's got a new challenger in Carlos Sainz Jr. What else can we say about Charles Leclerc? I just really like him, and he's just got that look about him. Can't ride a horse, though. Don't let him on a horse. Never do that. Which is ironic, right? Because of the Ferrari horse.
That's the horse he prefers. He's the one that is 2D and can't kick him in the head.
Yeah, you never hear about people driving horses.
I certainly don't.
I suppose you do.
I'll keep us going.
Yeah, please.
Yes, that's right.
Take the wheel.
I'll move on to. I'll get this thing back on the reins if I can. We'll move on to Alpine, not Alpine. Alpine, the team formerly known as Renault, with their new livery, their new name and new driver Fernando Alonso, returning, I guess, for the third time to what was, I guess, formerly Benetton / Renault / Alpine, partnering French driver youngster Esteban Ocon, who showed a lot of promise early, but really maybe hasn't performed as we all expected after his return to Formula One. And boy, he's going to have Fernando Alonso chasing him like a shark, or I should say more accurately, probably Ocon will be struggling to keep up with his teammate Fernando Alonso, but Esteban Ocon linked to Mercedes in some ways, and I guess they're questionable now because he seems to be fifth or something in line to go eventually to Mercedes, so he'll be hoping desperately that he can get Alpine right up onto podiums and wings in the next couple of years. And one thing that people don't really know about him is that he stitches all of the badges onto his own racing suit. Unlike Fernando Alonso, who gets people to do it for him, which it's a bit more the norm. He's a kind of a normcore kind of guy, Fernando Alonso, former two-time world champion, 2005, 2006. Really rose to... I mean, he really took down the former champion, Michael Schumacher. Just dethroned him completely, cut him off at the knees and said, I'm the champion now, mister. And then had a bit of an up-and-down career, bouncing around from team to team, really couldn't get settled anywhere, finally went to Ferrari, had no luck there, and then had a few years in the wilderness before retiring, and now, after 2 years, returns, and everyone's watching to see what he can do. He's also a ninja. That's not the false thing, that's a true thing. He's a ninja. Just follow him on Twitter, and that'll be confirmed. And then the last thing that you need to know about him is that he uses honey to keep his beard straight. Straight,
not supple, straight.
No, straight and styled. But it smells good.
Styled and sticky. Oh, it smells good. Well, that's important. Wow, Fernando Alonso. Cannot believe that he's back in Formula One.
How does it feel to have him back? Because you used to be a big poster boy for him. Now he's back.
I was a big poster boy for him.
Yeah, he was your favourite driver when he was a driver that you could have as a favourite.
Put me on the posters for the fan club of Fernando Alonso. I do like Fernando Alonso. It's true. It feels funny for him to be at a team like Alpine. Like that feels. It's a bit like Sebastian Vettel at Aston Martin. Like it's just kind of but you were so good, and now you're at odd team. Actually, the grid's full of them. Kimi Raikkonen, ex-champion. I don't think I even got to say that earlier, but he's at Alpha. Fernando Alonso at Alpine. I suppose Alpha's a real racing car company. But yeah, all these past champions just, knocking around in the middle of the grid, which will make for some interesting racing, I'm sure. And speaking of past champions, Sebastian Vettel had 4 brilliant years at Red Bull when they were basically lights out in front of everybody else, thanks to some good aerodynamic design and other teams around them being not anywhere near as good, and Sebastian Vettel being the wonderkind. Now is Daddy Sebastian Vettel seemingly had gone from being a child to a grown man, but with nothing in the middle. We didn't really see that change. It was just like, I'm a child, and now I'm 40, it feels like. The newly established, but basically the same, Aston Martin.
Yeah, basically.
Which is the teal team, kind of greeny teal. I actually saw a proper green, racing British green Jaguar this weekend. I was like, that's the real green. Why is Aston Martin's car not that colour? Probably because sponsors. What can we say about Sebastian Vettel? He gets angry. He hasn't been good for years and years and years and years. He spins out all the time. He always, always, always has something to say. I think he thinks of himself very much as like the dad of the grid, even though he's like, we have a dad and his name is Kimi Raikkonen. Formula One has a dad. And an uncle, I would say, in Fernando Alonso, who's back. He's come back. Sebastian Vettel, though, Rod, I had something and it just flew out of my mind. It's hard to think of all these great truths about Sebastian Vettel because he's just so
all the great
boring.
truths to choose from.
He's so boring, but he doesn't work very hard. Just doesn't work very hard at all. It's just all luck for him. Whereas Lance Stroll, incredibly hard worker, is there till 10 p.m. every single night with the engineers, working on the team. He doesn't take his money for granted. He doesn't take the fact that his father basically, definitely does own the team. Comes from crane and heavy machinery money, our friend Lance Stroll. Another Canadian, which means we have more Canadians on the grid than we have Italians, Finnish, Japanese, or Australians. I think they are the second most populous nation on the grid, behind the UK, I want to say. Tied for the UK? No, 3 from the UK.
No,
and
would be behind, yeah.
Yep, so just behind the UK,
incredible.
and 2 from Spain as well. So who knew? Canadians. Well, we knew, because there's always been good Canadians. You're a bit like the Australians of Formula One. There's always one in and around it.
What else can Formula One?
Canadians, the Australians of Formula One. Lance Stroll, famously wishes he was Australian. And that's all I have to say about the Aston Martin drivers.
You've done so well. I'm learning so much about all these drivers, things I didn't know, things I could never even imagined. We're into McLaren. Their 2 drivers, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, the Australian. Some people call Australians the Canadians of the grid, but not me. That's not my style. McLaren on the rise after a couple of years. A poor performance down the back of the grid. That's the wrong end for them to be at. But they're coming back. They're resurgent. Obviously, they've just parted ways with Carlos Sainz, who's gone to Ferrari. Maybe that wasn't such a great choice. But in his place, they get Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris. Lando Norris, youngster, very good in the junior formulas, but has come of age. And boy, he's a social media sensation. Fantastic, dark, vampiric eyes, dead stare. Good follow on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I'm sure he's on TikTok. Don't even know for sure. But the thing is that he's terrible at guessing heads and tails. If you toss a coin, always gets it wrong. That's the thing you need to know about Lando Norris. Daniel Ricciardo, the Australian, the good-looking, funny, foul-mouthed, cheeky Australian. The guy that gets in there with his elbows out, his teeth out, bit of drool. It's a bit gross. But Formula One is a gross thing, and he's in there to get performances. It's been a couple of years since he won a race. He'll be really hoping to at least get back onto the podium as a regular feature. He's going to have to beat his teammate if he's going to do that. But in the meantime, we'll know that when he got on the podium recently, he had a wager with Cyril Abiteboul that if he got on the podium, Cyril Abiteboul had to get a tattoo. What people don't know, though, Daniel Ricciardo, he's got all the lyrics to You're the Voice tattooed down his back. So if you ever forget a word, you can just ask him to just take your shirt off, and he probably will.
Yeah, it's almost like the snake eating its tail, having to have the words to You're the Voice tattooed around, because that whole song is that, like, you're the voice. You don't need to play by somebody else's lyrics.
Yeah. And if you're going to get lyrics tattooed on your body, you definitely do it on your back. That's definitely the spot where you want to have them so that they're always there, but also inconvenient to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose if you don't like it, if you're going to get a tattoo, get it on your back, because if you don't like it, you can just forget about it.
Yeah, hey, I don't have to look at it. It's your problem.
Yeah, and the tattoo was so bad as well that Cyril Abiteboul was fired from Renault/Alpine and no longer works there.
He did it. The assassin.
The assassin. Now this, Rod... are we ready to move on to the Red Bull?
Yes.
This is probably the biggest move in Formula One in recent years. Red Bull famously have just promoted drivers from the young driver program. They've had blinkers on. They're like, you know what? The only good drivers are the ones that we rear ourselves. And after years and years and years of basically not having a world champion since Sebastian Vettel, they finally decided maybe we should hire somebody good in, as opposed to looking at it. Maybe we're the problem, is what they've decided. So they brought in Sergio Perez and his Carlos Slim money, telecommunications money, Telcel-Net, whatever it's called, money, in to Red Bull Racing. Sergio Perez is actually 45. Not many people know that, but he's Mexican. Which makes him the only Mexican on the grid, which means that when we do race in Mexico, it's amazing because they fucking love him and they go off, and it's one of the best pieces of Formula One track in it, where the track goes underneath the through the grandstand and out into, like, what do they call it? The stadium set of corners, and it's fucking amazing. And the crowd goes mental when Sergio Perez drives through there. What else can we say about Red Bull? Max Verstappen, he kind of looks like a hammerhead shark. But I think he's building that on purpose. I think he wants to be threatening. His dad, also a Formula One driver, Not currently racing, though, although if it doesn't work out for Sergio Perez, maybe they can get Jos Verstappen into the other Red Bull. Max, absolutely famously, really jealous of his father's punchy first name, Jos. It's so good. It would really fit on the grid these days, but Max has a real chip on his shoulder because of that, and that's why he's in Formula One, is to really stand up for himself and to make a name for himself. Future world champion is what everyone says, but they've been saying that for like 3 years now. So when does the future become the present, Rod? That's what Max and I would like to know. He's definitely lost a little bit of charisma since Daniel Ricciardo and him were no longer teammates. Daniel Ricciardo famously being a Red Bull, much better than Max Verstappen, because he kept him in laughing fits all the time, and Max just wouldn't take his racing seriously. But now that he's not paired up with Max Verstappen, and Daniel Ricciardo not paired up together, Max can really focus on the racing. He loved Daniel Ricciardo so much that he looked at Daniel Ricciardo's number and said, "You're my inspiration. I'm your protege. I'm going to take your number 3 and put another 3 on it because I one day want to be doubly as good as you." That's why Max Verstappen's number is 33.
I mean, it makes so much sense. I mean, it's right there in front of us this whole time. I mean, it's amazing that no one's picked up on it until now. But again, the exclusives keep rolling.
Could have paid attention.
Right here on Super License. Yeah. I'll move us on to the last team, which is Mercedes, the reigning champions. And boy, they're reigning world champions. There's reigning world champions in here. Boy, because they've had an incredible period of dominance, really the most dominant period that Formula One has ever seen. And that's including the incredible early 2000s period by Ferrari. But this tops it by a country mile. We've got their 2 steeds for Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas, the second Finn, or some might say he's the first Finn. Second Finn in my heart, though, number 77. The man with the baby face and the fully grown body. Most people don't know that he has a series of clones, and every year he gets a complete face skin graft just to keep that face looking youthful. But he's really the bridesmaid, and that's kind of just it. Not even never the bride, because that's just too much of a compliment. And he's shown at his best, and when Hamilton's not at his best, he can snatch a win here or there, but he's just not a contender, and that's just the sad fact of it. So you'll see a lot of Valtteri Bottas this season, but you won't see him overtaking Hamilton for the win. I would say that's an early bold season prediction. But the other man, the man of the moment, the man who's been the man of the moment for the last 7 years or whatever, Mr. Lewis Hamilton, the greatest of all time, really on any stage or any stat that you can throw at him, equal on the number of world championships until this year when he's going to get another one. And he's, most wins, most podiums, most pole positions. I think he's only 2 pole positions away from 100 maybe. From all reports, he's a little bit snippy at the moment and just maybe a bit grumpy about his 1-year contract extension that he's been given, but kind of just being a bit contrary to everybody, kind of like, what makes you think I'm going to win this year? I don't know. The other teams look pretty good. It's like, well, maybe because you win everything and your team's the best. But obviously flying the flag for Britain. He's the best British driver there's ever been. The best driver Formula One's ever had. There's just no doubting it. Hip-hop superstar in his spare time. That's not even a lie. And lives in Monaco and lives the superstar lifestyle, jet-setting around, mixing with starlets, models, singers, actors, lacrosse players, you name it. The real hoi polloi, the real high society people. And his favourite thing to do, to unwind, is he likes to knit little kids' booties. He's clucky. He's clucky is what I'm trying to say.
Do you think Esteban Ocon could teach him how to sew? Or do you think that Esteban Ocon learnt that from Lewis Hamilton?
Oh, look, he wishes. He wishes he could sew as good as Hamilton.
Wow. Do you think Lewis Hamilton drinks Monster Energy? Because they're sponsored by them. Do you think he's ever tasted it?
I was going to say probably once, but I actually don't even think so. I doubt it. I'd be very surprised.
I doubt it too. I doubt it. You hesitated so much on that, I thought I lost you after my internet had failed. I was like, am I gone again?
I am still here. After a period of losing Zach there for a while, we thought we lost him again. I just stunned you into silence with my true confession that he never drank Monster Energy.
Have you got any thoughts on, like, if you're new to Formula One, let's say someone has sent you this podcast, as you stated at the start, how should people think about this grid overall? Like, is it a really good quality grid? Are they argy-bargy? Is there any ongoing beefs between teams, drivers, people?
I think a few years ago, the beef would have been between Hamilton and Vettel when he was threatening while he was at Ferrari, while they were cheating. That was the real story. But I mean, now with with Vettel honestly past his prime, with Ferrari out of form, and then Vettel going to a mid-range team at best, that conflict has been blunted. Really, it's back to Hamilton Verstappen. So that's who you're looking for in terms of the sparks flying for the race wins. I think there's a pretty solid midfield grid, lots of stories. I mean, it'd be great to see Fernando Alonso coming back. It'd be great to see Charles Leclerc getting everything he can out of that Ferrari, and to see what Carlos Sainz can do to hang on. Pierre Gasly, I mean, there's all. We'll get into testing in a second, but there's the word is that AlphaTauri is looking pretty good, so Pierre Gasly will be right in the mix yet again. The problem, I think, with this grid compared to grids of recent years, where the quality, you'd have to say, was very good. There was a lot of old statesman drivers who were proven and very respected. All the younger drivers seemed to be ones that were like, I won Formula 2. I came second in Formula 2, then I won the next year, and now I'm here. There was a really high pedigree for the young drivers, and now I feel like there's a lot more people who are just kind of buying their seats, or they're unproven, or whatever. So there's a lot more question marks than there have been in some of the years of the past. But the midfield is still strong. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of good performances and a lot of good stories.
I couldn't agree more. Well, maybe we should move on to testing, and we can elaborate on that fact. Are you ready to move on to thoughts on testing?
I am ready. Okay. Honestly, I spent most of my time before the show preparing and getting this trailer cut. But yes, I'm aware of some things that have happened to testing, or just in general, the sort of vague form of how testing went, what happened, what didn't happen, and more or less where everything's sitting at the moment. Are there any standout talking points you want to kick off with?
I think we could start with Mercedes, being the fact that they didn't get as much running time as they had hoped. They had a couple of spins, which meant that their sessions were cut short. Things weren't working as well as they had hoped. But then this happens every year, when Mercedes is like... well, actually, what doesn't happen every year is that they don't run this few laps. Like, every year Mercedes comes out, and in the 4 hours of practice, they're like, we did 5,000 laps. Car never broke down. We just did all the laps. Whereas this year that didn't really happen. But the cars aren't drastically different. All that's really changed is people have done some aero stuff on the nose, and the floors can't be as complicated as previous years, so the floors are kind of basic. So there's been some changes. Some teams have done some interesting stuff at the back of the car. Alpine's got a really big airbox, so people were like, oh, that's a bit bulky, and they're like, no, it's to help with the back. So the cars kind of looked as maybe we kind of expected them to, but yeah, Mercedes' lack of running could mean they might have an interesting couple of races, but they're so good, it probably won't make any difference at all. Is that a good read, do you think?
I think that's a pretty good read. I think there's some crazy stat that's like Hamilton, like his stats for winning the first race of the season is crazy low, given the number of wins that he has and how dominant he is. They seem to come out of pre-season testing into the start of the season and not necessarily, at least for Hamilton, be right on form. But then, boom, right after that, he's right there. And often there's usually the accusations that they're sandbagging and not actually showing their true form during testing. That was true a few years ago when Ferrari was sort of rubbing their hands together going, hey, world championship for us. And then it turned out that, they got into the Q3 of the first race, the third qualifying session, and they're like, no, let's just switch this. Let me just hit my little switch here, and boom, we're winning everything by 3 seconds.
I can put the pedal to the floor, it turns out. There was a little bottle under the pedal. There was a Monster Energy can under the pedal.
The wick was not turned up completely, so I turned this wick up, and now we're good. So yeah, that seems to be the case most years with Mercedes when everything's going well. It does seem like this year their testing was a little bit disrupted, but I still feel that they're on track for doing very well. They might have a bit of work to do between now and the first race, which is in 2 weeks, but I'm still confident that they'll be right there.
Yes. The Red Bull teams, AlphaTauri and Red Bull, this is Honda's last year until Red Bull take over the Honda engine factory, I suppose, or program is the word I'm looking for. And you could tell that they were making up the deficits on straight line speeds to the Mercedes power unit last year. They weren't really they weren't falling behind as we expected them to, and they were very, very, very competitive towards the end of last season. It seems like they picked that up. They're reliable, they're quick, and I would be looking. I don't think it's just about Red Bull this season. I think it's also about AlphaTauri really pushing into the could they be the third or fourth best team on the grid this season? Pierre Gasly's very good. Yuki Tsunoda has started pretty well in testing. It's picked up. They think he's very good. There's obviously a reason he's in the team, because he's very good. So I'm very kind of quietly excited. about AlphaTauri. Maybe when we come to predictions, we'll talk about them.
Maybe. I read a story about Yuki Tsunoda that everyone was pointing out, hey, you're driving really fast and doing really fast lap times, but it turns out you're actually opening your DRS way too early. And then someone else pointed out, well, he can do what he wants. This isn't a race. This isn't qualifying. I can open and shut it whenever the heck I like, and you can't do a damn thing about it. But I think that's, I don't know whether that's just a sign that he's a bit plucky, but I mean, I think that he's obviously going to be behind the 8 ball at first in terms of Pierre Gasly, but who knows? I mean, he might come out really show us what he's made of. But yeah, I agree that Red Bull especially, but also AlphaTauri, they've really had a strong preseason. The testing season couldn't have gone really much better for Red Bull. They've done everything right. They've come through, and I mean, whether they're sandbagging or not themselves, doesn't really matter. They couldn't have done anything better than they've done, and I guess we'll find out at the first race whether that's genuine or not. But sure, looking good for old mates Red Bull. And I guess one of the other takeaways is a general observation about testing this year is that there wasn't any team or driver or whatever that was like disastrous. And I mean, you could think of recent years where Williams just didn't even go to testing when they had multiple rounds of testing. They were like, we're just not even going to go. That's cool, right? We just don't there's no rule that says we have to go. And they were like, I guess so, but also why wouldn't you want to go? They're like, no car, no money. Oh, there was not really any story like that. Everyone did a good number of laps. A lot of people had good testings, and at least one of the good things about testing is if you have a bad testing, you know what you need to work on. So I think everyone's in that position. They either did very well or realized what they need to work on, and now they're just going to head down, bum up, get those things fixed.
Yeah, this is kind of the dream scenario, I think, for the kinds of changes we're having. Lots of driver team changes, a couple of newish teams in Formula 1, even though Aston Martin's essentially just a name change. McLaren getting the Mercedes power unit, but that's right? I'm not imagining that. Yeah, because there was almost no fanfare. But
McLaren, yes, that's right. No,
now they've got a Mercedes power unit, and
all eyes on
the fact
McLaren
that they didn't blow up at testing.
How's it going to go?
Yeah, exactly. Usually those kinds of things, it's like, we lost the whole day of testing because it exploded and we didn't know what to do.
Couldn't find the we weren't sure which side you put the fuel tank on.
Yeah, exactly. It arrived and the top didn't fit, and we had to strap it down.
Yes.
No, it was just fine. So yeah, I think that this is what happens towards the end of a formula life cycle, right? We're due changes to the formula, not this season, but 2022 next season. Is that right? This changes so often. I should know this, but I keep questioning myself because I feel like every week they have another meeting. They're like, you know what? We're going to push back the changes until 2026.
Yeah. It was meant to be the start of this year. Was pushed back to next year, and I believe it's been frozen for another year, or at least another year. So, exactly. The thing is, it's not right in front of me, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just gives Red Bull an opportunity to take over the Honda engine power unit program, which is probably good for Formula One. So yeah, I would say overall, most of the teams are kind of pretty happy because nothing, as you said, nothing went really badly. But yeah, I would be watching out, I think. None of the smaller teams made big gains though that we could easily tell. It's not like we looked at Haas and Williams and were like, wow, they're so good now. I think that it was just kind of, the running order kind of feels the same, which... It's testing, right? But it'll be interesting because they're doing testing in Bahrain. First race is in Bahrain. I wonder if they've really learnt a lot about the track. Good for the drivers who are new to Formula One, I think, to get some time on the track. How many new drivers do we actually have? We've got Tsunoda, Schumacher, Mazepin. That's it, right?
Yeah, I think they're the ones that have got the collection of 0 races between them. I think they're the ones.
Don't get a number until you do your first race. Turns out.
Yeah, they give it to you as you cross the finish line. They're like, congratulations, you can have your number now.
Yeah, they line up all these different numbers and you got to drive your car into the number that you want. That's how they do it.
And it'll be interesting to see how rookie Fernando Alonso does.
Yeah. I mean, God, it's been so long since he's won a world championship. Jesus Christ. It's been 17 years. That's a long time.
I could be that championship's father. That's how long ago that was.
It'd be so good if he wins one in a couple of years, though. It's like, that would be the stat that will come up in Super License quizzes, super quizzes in 20 years' time. Like, what is the longest distance between world championship wins? Fernando Alonso, 22 years.
Well, I mean, you'd love to see it. I don't think there's too many other big stories that are coming out of of testing. That's the thing. So it's like there was something about this is where I steer away from these kinds of stories. But McLaren had some awesome rear diffuser thing, and I was like, I'm falling asleep reading the headline. I think one of the things about testing this year is that there was the big takeaways is everyone's fine. It's going to be fine, everybody. If you're worried, if you're concerned, if it's keeping you up at night, don't. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think that's a summary of Formula One had a really tough season last year, like a tough year.
Well, that's true.
And I feel like the circus of Formula One has kind of gone like, you know what? Why don't we make some decisions that suit all of us to get us through the next couple of years, and just why don't we have everybody have a good time? Like, secure the teams that are here, secure the drivers that are here, make sure the brand makes sense. If there's lots of they're filming and they want to film in like 8K, they want to get Formula One TV or Formula One. What are they calling it? It's not Formula One TV. Is it Formula One TV?
F1
F1
Pro?
TV. Thank you. Yeah, and F1 TV Pro. They're thinking more about how they can sell more stuff because now they're a media producer as well. Obviously, that's part of the reason why they want a sprint race on a Saturday. All those kinds of things.
I need to talk about this.
Oh,
this thing.
Okay.
I've got multiple email accounts that I have registered for F1 TV Pro, and in the sense of like, I registered for one that was overseas, then I registered for one that was here to get access for when it maybe wasn't going to be in Australia and all the rest of it. But then I started getting emails before testing that were like, hey, here's 25% off on F1 TV Pro if you want to watch testing. I was like, no thanks, I'm good. But anyway, thank you. And then I'd get another email. This, like, again, every time I get an email, I get 2 emails. But then I get another one a few days later that's like, yeah, testing's tomorrow. Just again, last chance, 25% off. And I'm still just delete. And then the morning of testing, another one. Again, final chance to get
We're delaying
25%.
testing
like,
for you.
Just do not. Whoever is sending those emails, you've got to stop. Or they need to get someone else because that is nonsense.
Probably some marketer. As a marketer myself, I can say that there's some marketing team that's just like, well, why wouldn't you? People want to know. They're big fans. Rodney, he does a bloody Formula One podcast. Of course he wants to watch testing. Yeah. Sell it to him.
Your spin-off podcast, which is going to be about marketing, is going to be called I'm a Marketer Myself.
From the marketing point of view. POV. Yeah, I haven't got anything else to say about all of that. I just feel like F1 is now just one big thing, and they don't even really want to compete with each other. They just want it to survive.
Yeah, it's true. We've got a couple of more things that we could do then. We should talk about maybe the Fantasy League. We should make some predictions ourselves, and we should play this trailer that I've cut. So which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the fantasy predictions, because I feel like it's a good segue from having talked about the drivers.
So if you're interested in joining our Fantasy League, here's how you do it. I got in so much trouble last time when we said it would be in the show notes or whatever we said, and it wasn't there. I'm very, very sorry. I will not do it again. Here's where you go if you want to get into the Fantasy League. You go to fantasygp.com. You head to leagues. Find the leagues. Put in this code. 532-8208. That's 532-8208. And you'll find the Super License Universe League. You want to join that. Then you create your team. Your team will be put into the league. You'll see all the other people in the league. I took a screenshot. I was number one. Very, very happy, very proud. Wanted to call the league off right after that. But unfortunately, I was vetoed on that. We are going to be having a competition after all. It turns out this is a meritocracy after all. Jeez, excuse me. But that's where you go to get the fantasy, your fantasy team in. It's really good to just do it on your mobile. And what you want to do is pick your team, and then every race, you want to head into that website and put in your predictions, which is, who's going to win, how many safety cars there are going to be, and does Pierre Gasly cut his own hair, or whatever crazy question they have. You want to do that because you get bonus points, and every week we'll call out some of the top performers on the podcast. How's that for explanation?
That's a great explanation, and it's open now, so you can go and pick your teams and drivers. It's ready to go. I've actually got it up right now. I was thinking about choosing a driver, but instead of doing that live on the show, I'm going to ask you one question, Rod. Who is the cheapest driver in Fantasy GP this year?
I want to say Tsunoda.
It is not Tsunoda, no. Although, it does cost $4 million.
Mazepin?
It's Mazepin. How much?
Yeah. I'll give you $5 for him.
Yeah, that's about right. Now it's £3 million. $3 million. Sorry, $3 million.
Pretty low.
Yep, pretty low.
So for contrast, who's the most expensive one?
It's actually me.
Just head to Hamilton and tell me what number it is.
Hamilton is 25.5. He is a full $5 million more expensive than anybody else. Like, even Max Verstappen is worth more than Bottas.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Ricciardo, not cheap either. But Sebastian Vettel, more expensive than Daniel Ricciardo. Who'd have thought?
Oh, yeah, that's just wrong.
They think that
That's
those
gotta
Racing
be a
Points
mistake.
/ Aston Martin / whatever the Pink Panthers, whatever they were called beforehand, they think they're good. So we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah. I think Daniel Ricciardo will have a thing or two to say about that, my friend. So, are we going to make some big predictions for this year? What's the big crazy thing? What's the craziest thing that you think is going to happen this year?
The craziest thing that I think is going to happen this year, I think Sergio Perez is going to do better than Max Verstappen. Finish higher in the points.
Wow, I'll give it to you.
than
That
Max
is a
Verstappen.
crazy one.
Yeah.
Now, is that going to be on form, or do you think that Max Verstappen will get some kind of long COVID? What's horrible accident? Some kind of, amnesia where if he gets had to drive mid-race, what?
I think that Max Verstappen is so busy looking ahead, and all his focus is going to be on Lewis Hamilton, that Sergio Perez
If he
is not
gets
even
the
going to
threat
be.
from within.
Yeah, yes, exactly. The call's coming from inside the garage. That Sergio Perez is just going to be scooping up points every week. It's just going to be like 4th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. He'll probably get a win.
There'll be a win on offer, and he'll take it, and Max will
Yeah.
be furious, and he'll punch him.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't quite go that far, but gee whiz.
I will.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that Sergio and Max probably won't even really spend any time together, and Sergio will just be racing in his own whole, he's just his own space. He will bring a level of professionalism and drive to that team.
That's true.
That
That's
Max
true.
will find. He won't be able to personally go up against it, because there'll be nothing to go up against, because Sergio Perez won't even be in the room. There'll be no competition, and it's not like Max will be able to be like, hey, I'm actually way better than you, because Sergio is going to be doing really well, and I think he'll be liked by the team. I think he already is liked by the team. The fact that they hired him in, I think he'll just be a stabilizing, kind of full of inertia driver that whereas Max is totally up and down. And is he's obviously amazingly talented, but he's also a lot of instinct and feel. And instinct comes from, practice and professionalism, all those kinds of things. But Sergio is a whole different kettle of fish for Max Verstappen to try to compete with. And I think he'll get rattled, because Sergio will just be turning up, doing a great job every week.
And when Max tries to talk to him, he'll say, we're in different bubbles. And then Max Verstappen will say, no, I'm pretty sure we're in the same bubble. And then Perez will pretend he doesn't speak English and walk away.
Yeah, sorry,
and Max will
can't hear you.
definitely hit him. That's my prediction for the year.
Okay.
Max is going to hit Sergio Perez in the face with his fist.
Wow.
But that's not the only crazy prediction that I have this year. I think we've been talking about this one for a little while, and I'm going to trot it back out again. This year we're going to see more than 3 different teams win a race. I'm going to put that out there. We're going to see at least 4 different teams win a race. I feel like we might have. Did we have that last year? We must have, because Perez and Gasly won those weird ones. I think it was the first year in
Red Bull
ages that there wasn't just 3.
Mercedes. Yeah, 4.
But we're going to see
So
it
you
again.
think we'll see 4 again? Wow.
At least. Yep.
How many different drivers are going to win? So let's go top down. Hamilton, Bottas, both getting wins?
They'll get at least 1 each.
That's nice for Bottas,
and then
isn't
obviously Perez is going to pull down Max's pants and spank him. And then Max will probably get 1 or 2 here or there. So there's 4.
Yep.
Then he'll probably throw 1 to maybe Alonso for 1, maybe
Oh,
Ricardo for 1,
Fernando
or Norris
Alonso
for
is
1.
going to win a race this year. Really?
Yeah, so why not? So there's 6 drivers, I'm saying. 6.
Sorry, what was your 6th one? I missed that.
Ricardo and Alonso. So
of course.
the top 4. Yeah, and then Ricardo and Alonso, they both win. So there's 6 drivers, 4 teams at least. That's minimum. Will win races. There you go. That's my bold prediction.
6 drivers. That's pretty good for Fantasy GP. That'd be very useful. That'll be handy. Sad for Sebastian
exactly.
Vettel that he will never win a Formula 1 race again. That's rough for him.
Miracle if he finishes the race.
I think I'm going to go even further here and say that I think that Ferrari had too much ground to make up. And even though they look good in testing, and everybody's like, all the customer teams, Haas and Alfa Romeo are like, oh, you know what, this Ferrari power unit's all right. I don't think that they've been able to catch up enough, and I think the other teams have moved forward. I think that Red Bull and McLaren will both be better than they were last season, and Alpine was on the way up, and so was Racing Point. Now Aston Martin. I think it's become a very, very, very clogged podium behind Mercedes, and I think Ferrari's just going to absolutely struggle this season again. It's going to be really rough. But Carlos Sainz is going to be wishing he was at McLaren still, and I think that they will finish. I don't know. Maybe Ferrari won't finish in the top half of the manufacturers' champion. I think they'll finish 6th. There we go.
Yeah, didn't they finish 6th last year?
Yeah, but you would think that two seasons in a row, that would be really rough. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it would.
Same again. Same again, guys.
Okay, same again.
Regulars.
That's your outlandish prediction. Same again.
You're right. When you say it like that, not very outlandish at all.
I mean, outlandish would be like Alfa Romeo will finish ahead of, Ferrari. So if you wanted to say that, like that's right there.
No, I'm not going to say that.
No? Not going to?
No. I mean,
Okay, fair
actually,
enough.
they have to.
That's your prerogative.
I think they have to. I think if they're going to finish if Ferrari's going to finish 6th, I think AlphaTauri do need to finish in front of them. I was going to just call Mercedes Hamilton. Just Team Hamilton. Hamilton Racing, first of all, and then Red Bull, and then McLaren, and then Alpine, and then... Oh, yeah, no, it could be...
Aston Martin.
It could be Aston Martin, yep. And then, you know what? Fine, AlphaTauri, yep. So maybe Ferrari will be 7th.
There you go. That could be.
Wow. Imagine if it was just all the Ferrari-powered teams at the bottom. Imagine it was just like Ferrari, Alpha, and Haas. 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Oh, boy.
That'd be so bad, but also so funny.
I mean, look, that's a good super quiz of the future being written right there.
Linus Stern in the Ferrari-powered cars.
Yes, exactly. We will see the triumphant return of Super Quiz next time there's a race. If we're doing a quickie shakedown, if we're doing a commentary, we won't do a quiz, but we'll do a Super Quiz if there's been a race. That's the rule. So we'll see the return of the Super Quiz next time there's a race, which is in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, a week and a half away.
Mm-hmm. Between then, I'm led to believe, and I did have to double check this. I was like, have we committed to recording Dare to Swear when Drive to Survive won't even be out? But that's not the case. In the next few days, the next season of Drive to Survive is going to be launching worldwide. You'll all be glued to it, I'm sure. That's why we rushed to get this episode out before you were all too distracted by that. But we will be back, I believe, next week doing a commentary where we bullshit for a little bit, hit record, we watch it, we talk over the top of it, you listen to it, you love it. And
you love it.
That is what we call Dare to Swear. Zach, I teased earlier that I do have a trailer sitting in my pocket. How are we feeling? Do we want me to dust this bad boy off?
Yeah, dust it off. Put it in the VHS drive.
Drive? So please do listen. I will let you, because it's us talking, and this is obviously us talking now. I will let you know when it starts and finishes. And also please bear in mind that I threw this together in a very short amount of time.
I'm in.
With that said, with those expectations lowered, are we ready?
Yes.
Here's your Dare to Swear Season 3 trailer.
Netflix are a real bunch of...
Apparently Drive to Survive's coming out.
Oh, I can't wait for the next season of Drive to Survive. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
All the action, all the thrills and spills.
It was last year. We recorded a Dare to Swear where we did commentary over each episode and we watched them together as podcast brothers. Can we do that again?
Oh, I can't wait for it to be amazing.
Are we going to do full, just say exactly what's happening on the screen?
It's going to be amazing.
It's like everybody got the memo. You can swear, right?
Like we dare you. We dare you to swear. Dare to Swear. That could be the spin-off season.
That's what we're calling this show. Dare to Swear. Dare to Swear. Dare to Swear. Should we put a trailer together for our Dare to Swear season?
Yes. It's going to be highlights from our previous season. And it won't be about the coming season. Oh, no. This is a meal, but I'm still going to do it because I can't wait for the next season of
Dare to Swear.
It's going to be amazing. All right, it's finished.
You fucked me.
Love a false ending.
Oh, very good. I'm excited for my viewing pleasure. Really, really excited.
Oh, I can't wait for the next season of Drive to Survive. It's going to be amazing. As I said several times.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
So Dare to Swear, there it is. I wasn't brave enough. I wasn't a brave enough boy to put Daniel Ricciardo using his famous expletive in the trailer because I feel like this is the trailer. But anyway, the trailer's out there now. We might put it on Twitter. We might drop it in the Discord. We might do whatever we want to do so people can re-listen and enjoy and relive and get psyched themselves for the upcoming season of Dare to Swear. And I did have to think in my mind, what are we going to do? Because we did a one-off whole, a one episode for the whole of the first season. Then we did individual episodes for the second season of Drive to Survive. For convenience sake, do we just say this is the third quote-unquote season of Dare to Swear, and then we can just sync up with the episode titles?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we do that.
I think so. You got to take these opportunities early, right? You never want it to be...
Yes.
No, you don't want it to be like one of those weird things where the 18th century is the 1700s. Like that's
No,
something
I
that
do
we
not
didn't
want that.
need. Like as
No,
a human
no one
race,
asked for that.
we could have just said, you know, we're never going to say the century name or number. We're just going to say it was the 1700s or the 1800s or the 1900s. We didn't want to say it was the 19th century. It's just too confusing. So now, yep, Drive to Survive Season 3, Episode 1, coming out next week. Are you going to watch this? We talked about this. You're going to watch the season and then rewatch with your bud, Zach?
This is the other thing that I need to confirm with you, because I feel like you were almost like leaning more towards let's not watch it and do a commentary, and then I kind of went, no, I don't want to do that, and you went, yeah, no, I don't need that, but I got a feel like maybe you did. But one possibility is we could wait a couple of days and do it for the first one. I don't think I necessarily want to wait like 4 months to watch the whole season, but I might do it for the first one. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it for the first one. That'll be fun.
Okay. And then we could binge after that and rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But the first one, we'll go in sight unseen. I think my concern for doing it for the whole season is that we'll just get too invested watching it and forget to talk. And we will talk, but we'll miss stuff. At least if you've seen it, you get the idea and you can kind of talk over the top. And it's passable as a podcast, as opposed to just staring at the screen and going, shh, I didn't hear what he said.
Come on, Rod, jeez. Yeah, okay, let's watch the first one together. When does it come out? The 21st? Is that right? Release date?
No.
19th. Friday the 19th. And that way it could be out for people to listen to before Bahrain Race 1. Oh, man, I'm so excited. Nice work on the trailer. I'm really excited. I can't remember anything the last season. I think I've said this before on season review shows with the Box of Neutrals lads. As soon as the season's over, I just forget about the entire thing.
Or I remember the last couple of races, but like the one from 9 months ago, forget about it.
No. In my mind,
I'm not gonna...
Melbourne Grand Prix did happen this time last year. That was the last time I saw you, I reckon, this time last year.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That Sunday where we didn't go to the race, we went to a pub, but I think we'd caught up a couple of days before that as well, but it was not the weekend we expected, really, in any way.
No. Daniel Ricciardo quite nicely said that on the weekend during testing. He was like, hey, this should have been when the Melbourne Grand Prix was on. It's not, but we'll be back there at the end of the year, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, when we're all vaccinated. Yeah. Well, Zach, I think our job we've done a great job. I think our job is done, though. I think I'm sweating, and I definitely would like to take these headphones off. Any last thing that we need to cover before we boot out of here?
No, make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe as well if you've got new friends.
If you've got new friends.
Old friends. If you've got old friends who you're newly getting into Formula One, now is a great time because we've got this preseason episode. They can meet all the drivers, learn all the important facts, and they will check with you which ones are the lies. And because you're the F1 expert listener, you'll be able to tell them which ones are the lies and which ones are the jokes.
That's right.
Get them onto Fantasy GP. If you haven't made your team already, jump on and do it. Because now's a great time. You've got all the information from testing. You can make some good choices beforehand. Get on the Discord. We have a little predictions channel in there. So if you want to tell us your guesses for pole, win, and 10th, we will probably make some changes to the predictions thing for Silverstone, where you'll also have to guess the winner of the squalifying. Just almost squalifying, like squalor. That's not great. It's not very good. Join the Discord and watch out for Season 3, Episode 1 of Dare to Swear coming next week.
Absolutely. With that question, I don't have much else to say other than the fact that, it's going to be plenty of content coming your way. Stay subscribed, and if you're not already subscribed, get on that. I never understand this. How do people listen if they're not subscribed? How does it even...
Spotify?
I mean, I know, podcast has been around for a little while, but... Yeah, I mean, if you're already listening, why? It's one extra thing to hit the subscribe button, just do it. But then you'll get all the episodes when they're ready. If you want to watch Drive to Survive without listening to our commentaries, that's fine. But again, I don't understand that either. It's more fun. Just pop it on. Just you're sitting there listening to us anyway. Just pop it on the old Netflix and watch along with us, so that when we point out Nikita Mazepin glaring at the camera, we're like, "Ooh, look at you, you bad boy." You know who we're talking about. But it'll probably be him. Anyway, I think we should wrap this thing up. We've done enough for today, and we'll be back with more very soon.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do your regular outro, or do you want me to continue to have and fill time until you remember what it is?
Nah. I think if you've got nothing else in the tank that you want to give us, then we'll just get out of here. And I'll do that by saying, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
We'll see you next time for Dare to Swear. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tricked you last time, so I'll do this one. Oh, yeah.